Welcome to Superiority, the podcast that cracks the code of business leadership. Each episode, we dive into the minds of industry leaders, unearthing the strategies, trends, and untold stories that shape the business world today. On this exciting episode, we are thrilled to announce a brand new talent partnership with Commercial Maintenance Services. CMS, as they are known, keep businesses across the nation running smoothly with its mechanical and electrical services. Now let's get down to business. I'm your host, Gareth Allen, and joining me today is a true leader in the field, Greg Round, who is Director of Operations at CMS. Greg's passion for excellence and relentless drive for innovation has been instrumental in the nationwide success. Afternoon, Greg. Thank you very much for joining us. How's tricks?
Yeah, very busy, Gareth. Thank you. Not too bad. How's yourself?
Good. Not delighted to have you on. Thanks very much. I know you're a very busy guy, so I'm looking forward to this episode. Obviously, working with you guys for the last 12, 15 months has been a good journey. So I thought it was really good, a good angle for our Superior podcast to get you on and tell us a little bit about your personal background, your journey, and of course CMS's. So for our audience who doesn't know who Greg Round is and doesn't know who CMS are, do you want to give us a bit of a plug?
Yeah, by all means. I mean, CMS, Commercial Maintenance Services, we're a national kind of gas, mechanical, electrical, air conditioning contractor based in the northeast, based in Gateshead. About to move offices very shortly to a nicer office than the one we're in currently, a bit busier. We've got full, we need to go and expand. But we provide national cover. All our engineers work for ourselves all around the country, from Scotland to bottom end of Cornwall. As regards me, I'm the operations director. I'm in that role for 15, 16 months now. Started with a business, and I know that we'll get to this. We started with a business sort of 6 years ago, worked my way through the ranks to where we are today.
And how does your bachelor's in animal science help you today then, Greg? I knew I'd get something on you.
The bachelor's in animal science has very little to do with day-to-day workings, obviously. But I think it does show, and a lot of people understand, if you can go off to university, if you can focus on a degree, you can focus on learning things, new things. And I'll be dead honest, I came to this business, I'm not gas qualified, I'm not an electrician, I'm not an air conditioning engineer. I came here as a manager of people, which has come from my previous roles, if you like, previous roles I've had prior to here, previous lives, as people like to call it. But I think the Bachelor of Science, yes, went off to university, did a degree in animal science, breeding genetics, physiology, and nutrition. If you haven't got all that detail, Gareth,
I know all about that.
You know all about that. I thought you might do. But yeah, it's just learning. To be fair, isn't it? It's a school of life.
Yeah. Fair play. And obviously, coming from your background, your ex-Tarmac, how different is it, working for a bigger corporate like Tarmac to being, an influential leader in an SME?
It's a huge difference, but that's one of the reasons that I came to CMS at the time. Much smaller organisation than we are now, probably a quarter of the size turnover-wise to where we are today. But I came, along with some others, our leadership team's packed with people that have worked for blue chips or large organisations, to bring some of those skills, some of those insights, and if I'm honest, some of the valued learnings that I had working for an organisation like Tarmac and a few others over the years, to bring it to what was, as you say, an SME, very small, family-orientated business back at the time when I joined, and help it grow to the national platform it's in now.
And it has been a hell of an impressive journey with CMS, hasn't it? You've obviously we've watched your growth over the last 15 months, and you were going through a growth phase prior to us having any dialogue. And you guys seem to have really aggressive plans via PE backed over the next 24, 36 months. Do you want to, I guess, a bit of a plug, shameless plug, if there's any candidates out there or any clients who want to know what you guys do? Do you want to give us a guide to that?
Yeah, I mean, we're at a point now where I think we need to start looking at divisions within commercial maintenance services. So we've always had what we call the holdings company, so, commercial maintenance services, and underneath that we've got a reactive maintenance and project business, and we roll that all in as one. That is, the engineering business that we are, if you like. I think it's now time to start looking at that and saying there's growth areas for us. And one of the big focus for us is, it's renewables. Everyone thinks renewables, it's solar panels, it's wind turbines. it's more than that. Our AC division is our renewables division, to be fair. Electrical is part of our renewables division. So rolling things like BMS into there, air conditioning into there, air source heat pumps into there, as well as your car chargers, the solar PV and everything that everyone's talking about. So our aim, if I'm honest, is in 5 years' time, our current fledgling renewables business will be the size and scale that CMS is as a whole now. So the intention is to
Yeah.
take the business from where we are. Our gas and mechanical will continue to grow organically. It always does. Gas isn't, much as people say gas is old hat, old industry, it's not going to go away overnight. So our gas and mechanical division, which it involves the plumbing, it involves the gas boilers, the oil boilers, all sorts of things like that, will continue to grow organically. But alongside that, we're targeting quite openly, quite honestly, we're targeting the renewables division to grow and be the size that we are currently.
It's an exciting journey, and one I'm really keen to see how you guys go and develop. What do you see? There's two parts to this next question. What do you see? Obviously, it's clearly an exciting roadmap you guys have got set out, and the growth we've witnessed over the last 15 months. I have no doubt that you guys will achieve that and possibly even exceed it. But two parts to this question: what do you see as the exciting opportunities in there? And also, let's be honest, business plans and models are great, but what do you see as the challenges? What's the hurdles to get to that end goal?
Okay, start with the opportunities. I think the opportunities are for our people, to be fair, they're for our staff, they're for people that we will bring in to those kind of junior roles, those fledgling roles as we start to expand. So I think the exciting opportunities are there for anybody that joins the organisation. Don't join and think, I'm an engineer and I stay as an engineer and that's me to the end of my days type thing. Don't say, I've come in as an administrator, be that an out of hours administrator or an in hours administrator. That's not the end of the roadmap and the journey for anybody. There's opportunity. And I think that's the key thing to nail there. As regards to challenges, it's the same thing. People is our challenge.
Yeah.
We're a people business. We don't make anything. We sell labour. We sell compliance, is the way we look at it. So we sell gas compliance. We sell safety in some respects when you look at it. And that's all revolves around people. So our biggest challenge is getting good people, retaining good people, and holding on to them and developing them as we grow through those financial models that we've got for the 5-year plan, etc., etc. The clients are out there. The work is out there. You mentioned growth. We grow organically. We don't do a huge amount of advertising, as you guys were aware when we started working together. Our social media presence was woeful. It's getting slightly better, but we don't advertise to win work. We don't need to advertise to win work, but we do need to advertise for people to be aware of who we are, to join our organisation and be part of that team.
No, well, we witnessed that from a recruitment point of view, because when we speak to candidates, there's very few candidates who don't know of you guys, regardless of region, because obviously one of your USPs is your national. And when we mention some of your client base, that in itself can be an attraction to candidates who we'd like to work for that client. We know you work and you've got that contract with this certain business, so that's definitely a differentiator when we're recruiting for you guys. In terms of going back to sort of opportunities, it's a really good point, because this is about leadership, and leadership is also about developing teams and bringing people through the ranks. If I'm a candidate out there right now who's working for a competitor, what leadership opportunities do you have in terms of development for me to come in the business and respectfully not just be a number?
I think we've got great examples within the workforce we've got today. I'll start off with myself. You're asking questions about my career. Yes, I had a lucrative career, great career at Tarmac. And when I joined commercial maintenance services, I started at if you like, the lowest level of the management chain, which was a tech manager. So as a technical manager, you're managing a group of engineers to deliver on the day for the client with the breakdowns, the faults, the PPMs, the quoted work, the project works, whatever. You're managing a geographic area of engineers to deliver. I've worked my way through from being the tech manager to being the regional manager, and now to the point where I'm the operations director. Behind me, there's a raft of other guys that have done the same. So guys that started off as engineers. One of our London managers currently started off as a gas engineer, very qualified gas engineer, became the supervisor for the team, and from the supervisor of the team, he's now the technical manager, office-based, managing a team of those engineers. And that's echoed by guys we've got in the West Midlands, that's echoed by guys we've got in Scotland. And then you look into our office, recently appointed one of our administrators from a senior role into our leadership role, if you like, for the office administrators. So they have a point of reference and a point of contact. I think as we grow, more and more opportunities like that will come. There's no getting away from it. We've created a mid role of a regional manager. When I had a regional manager role, it was different to what we've created now as a RM role, where they're looking after teams of technical managers, and the guys that were doing the regional manager role have moved on to business development roles. They're looking at client-facing roles. So it's not just about being able to go out and fix something. There's a lot of client management goes on in the background. There's a lot of administration goes on in the background. 30 odd administrators in our office. There's opportunities to become team leaders, to become managers, become supervisors. The same in the field as it is in the office. There's opportunity there at all levels.
Superb. Well, that's good to hear, and I hope any candidates who are maybe watching this can certainly take something from that. That there's opportunities to come in and grow and develop, and it's fab to hear. We work with a lot of clients, globally, who tell us they've got these opportunities, but actually they see recruitment and bringing people in is just bums on seats, respectfully. They just bring them in and it's to do a certain job. So it's fantastic to hear that CMS have a strategy behind taking people a certain role, working with them, developing, multi-skilling them and moving in. And it's always nice for the success stories like yourself and others in the business to say, well, I've been there, I've been through that journey. Come and follow us in that. So that's really good to hear. One of the things I didn't throw in at the start, Greg, and I know some of these questions have been preempted, this one hasn't. So when we've been doing our podcasts, the previous guests that we interview, we asked them to give us a bit of a killer question, if you like, to throw at our next guest. So no warning at all on this one, and I do like this question. So this was from Susan Grayson, who's a leader within DE&I in the Aberdeen market. And she asked me, as a leader, if you had an opportunity to go back into one of your earlier businesses and spend a week in a junior role, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's interesting.
It took me all weekend to think what I would do. I won't tell you what mine was, but yeah, I thought it was a hell of a question.
So it's almost like the back to the floor that we used to see on the BBC, isn't it? Go back and operate on the floor and see where you best benefit.
Yeah.
I think, I'll be honest, I did a lot of change roles when I was in Tarmac. A lot of the roles I did was dropping in and out of businesses. And I think probably one of the businesses I dropped back to was a company called Fast Floor. Fast Floor was a company that makes concrete flooring beams, basically. And in later in my career, I ended up managing one of the factories that made these beams. And I think, if anything, I'd take the time I had when I was back as a like a process improvement role or a change role, if you like, and actually go, you know what, let's spend some time in that factory, because I think that would have helped me selfishly. That would help me further in my career later down the line to have a better understanding. I looked at it from the outside as a helicopter and a process improvement, and we can do this and we can do that and do the other. Actually, if I'd spent the time and gone in and said, actually, let's go and work on the shop floor, I think that probably would help me with the career down the line. I just want to go back on one point, if I can, Gareth.
Of course.
You talked about opportunities and development, and we kind of just changed tack on that there. I think one important thing I'd like to get out to anybody listening to this is our apprenticeship program, apprenticeship scheme. You've just helped us recruit an apprenticeship manager. We have the intention, and it's on the wall in front of me, we have the intention to employ or to engage with 30 new apprentices this year. So that's 30 new apprentices joining the business, with a view that becomes our in-house talent management. They become our successors of the future. So I think we just need to make that point, that it's not just about joining us as a career now, join us as an apprentice. We can put you into all different areas of the business, which we discussed, and we can bring those apprentices through. The intention being, and you'll not like it, the intention being in 5 years' time, we don't need your time quite so much.
No, we absolutely get that. It's absolutely delightful to hear. As a father of a young child as well, it's apprenticeships seem to have a spell where they were rife when I was younger, and then they seem to disappear for a number of years. So it's great to see them coming back, and that's phenomenal numbers. Are they obviously headquartered in the northeast? Are them apprenticeships? Are they all regional centric, or are they national?
They're national, so there'll be apprentices in the administration roles in the offices. By the same token, literally sent an offer letter out with Kirsty, one of your team, earlier today, for a 21-year-old third-year apprentice to start and join us down in Nottingham. So we are looking to engage right around the country with either plumbing apprentices, electrical apprentices, air conditioning apprentices, you name it. If it's one of our trade areas, then we want apprentices in those trades, and we'll pair them up with longer served, time served engineers in the area, help them through the college, help them with all the work placements and all the assessments that they need to do, and bring them on as engineers in time. And they're our engineers of the future.
Superb. No, I think it's a really good point. That really, really good point, and we'll make sure that our audience can share this as well. Because if I think there'll be some parents out there with I guess young individuals who are a little bit lost. You know, when they leave college or leave school, and go, what is it I want to do? I certainly didn't know what I wanted to do when I was 16 or 18. So it's good to hear that there's great opportunities out there, and it's nice to see a business doing that, especially at them numbers. That's fantastic. So I know you want to recruit another 30. How many apprentices do you have currently in the business?
We have around about 30 now, if I'm honest. We've got apprentices in
Oh,
the office,
fantastic.
but mainly being focused around plumbing apprentices. So each team's generally got two. Our North team, because of where we are, has got sort of 5 or 6 apprentices in the North team alone. Because we've had the relationship with the local colleges, what we want to do is replicate that further afield and have those apprentices coming from Bristol, coming from Northampton, coming from Glasgow. We want them all over
Yeah.
the country.
Fantastic. No, great success that. I mean, I have 30 apprentices already, and the double is brilliant, and credit where it's due. And going back to leadership, again, it's not a name and shame in case an old boss is listening or anything like this, but is we've all had managers and leaders above us where we've probably not quite agreed with their leadership style. Have you, if you could take one thing from a bad leader, if that's the right phrase, what you see common, what you not like to see in leaders, and the second part of that question is, as a leader within CMS, what do you think is one of the most important things you've got to get right as a leader?
I'll flip in the opposite way, if I may. I think the
Okay.
key thing as a leader is to be engaged. Um, one of the worst things I've ever seen from leadership in an organisation, which I shan't name, is actually kind of the directive or the dictatorial leadership. We must do, without the understanding of the impact of that on A, the individuals, and B, the localized business. I think you can see it as the long-term business goal and why they want to do that. The localized business, that unit that it impacts, instantly. So for me, it's engagement. It's engagement with the people, being approachable. I
Yeah.
like to class myself as a collaborative leader. I won't do something I won't ask anyone else to do. I'll be down in the plant room and give the guys at hand and maul something around if I need to. But by the same token, I'll sit in the office and chat things through and understand issues we've got on day-to-day processes that the office and the admin team may have. So
Yeah.
for me, it's engaging with people. If you don't engage with the people that work for you, no chance of leading them at all.
Very true. Very true. I want to go back through COVID, because obviously CMS a very interesting business during COVID. While many businesses were, work from home and, let's be honest, no contact and quarantine and things like that, there was obviously a busy time for COVID. Sorry, for CMS with you guys, because there were certain businesses and hospitals and places that just didn't shut down. So talk me about what COVID and leadership during COVID was like, because I've had some wonderful answers off other clients I've interviewed, and it's hard to grasp what it must have been like through that time.
Yeah, I mean, none of us knew what we were walking into. I think that's the starting point for everybody. Everybody's business was different. And I remember exactly where I was when Nick, who's now our MD, pulled together a Teams conference call. We've got Teams as a facility, thankfully, back then. And we use it daily now, to be fair. But we had Teams. And I was actually on one of our projects down in Stoke-on-Trent, and we were refitting overhead heaters. And I was just there overseeing the project, with the guys. And it's like, we've got this call. So we all get on this call, and none of us know quite what's happening. We all know COVID, and we've heard all about it, and of course, the announcement will come from the government. And it was like hunker down call, CMS. This is what we've got to do to survive. We don't know what it looks like coming out of this. We don't know how long this is going to be. And it was one of those where we hunkered down. We put people onto furlough. Where we got vacancies, we didn't fill them. If you like the phrase, we dropped in the ranks. So I dropped down and ran Teams. Just to make sure we could try and survive for the business. None of us wanted the business to dissolve or disappear. I don't think what we did realise going into it, and hindsight is wonderful, is just how vital and important our services would become to people. So our portfolio, we'll deal with a number of care homes, we'll deal with hospitality and hoteliers, and we deal with retail. So hotels, hospitality, it closed. There's no getting away from that. We did a lot of work, a lot of painful work to shut hotels down, draining systems on the hope that they would eventually open back up again. But where we did pick up work and weren't expecting it was both retail and the care. Retail was an for us. Retail used to be, I've got a problem with hot water in the supermarket, and actually, as long as you get it today, tomorrow, it's the hand washing in the toilets. And if it's cold water, we'll cope with it. They became 4-hour emergencies. The threat is my deli counter is going to close if I haven't got hand washing facilities, etc., etc. That really turned the table and put the pressure on us from a reactive nature. Probably the hardest one for anybody to work in care. Hands up,
Right.
our guys, hand on heart, our guys that are out there today, a lot of them were with us at the time. They were donning plastic aprons, they were putting on visors, they were wearing masks, they were putting on latex gloves, and they were putting themselves in care homes that were locked down. These were locked
Yeah.
down because of either threat of infection or threat of spreading COVID, unfortunately. They still needed hot water, they still needed boilers, they still needed heaters, they still needed showers to work. Our guys put themselves out on the front line and never seen as frontline workers. And I'm not asking for anyone to see that status that the NHS put themselves through. But, general guys off the street, gas engineers for years, were carrying that much PPE in vans and walking into the
Yeah.
unknown. They didn't know. We had COVID in the business. Don't get me wrong. We had COVID in the office. We had COVID in the engineering teams. But our guys, hand on heart, credit to them. What a job they did through lockdown, and that's what kept us going. Other businesses like us did not survive, and we've
Yeah.
we've benefited as a result of their demise, and we've picked up new clients, etc. But we put ourselves out there, they put themselves out there, and we continue to deliver and grow the business that we've got today. We grew through lockdown purely and simply because we followed our values. We did what we said. We say what we did. We delivered on those commitments, and we delivered for clients.
No, I actually disagree. I think there should be credit on there. I think they are the unsung heroes. Obviously the NHS and emergency forces, what they done and put their lives on the line for all of our families, I guess, during that time was nothing short of heroic. But there was a lot of unsung heroes in the background, who were still going out and doing what your guys were doing. So no, it's a really, really interesting story, I guess, that when you think about what we've all been through as a journey, and how times have changed now. Now COVID's thankfully gone, or we can deal with it. So yeah, what a challenge that was. In terms of leadership, again going back to this, if you could give me one tip to a future leader, one of your apprentices who may be in the business, or someone who doesn't even work with you guys yet, what would it be? What's the one tip you'd give to a future leader?
Listen. Everybody says it. God gives you 2 ears and 1 mouth. And we all very quickly form opinions. And it's very easy to think, I'm in this position, and therefore what I think is right, and that's what needs to happen. I think the key, it goes back to my engagement conversation, doesn't it? But it's listen, I'm not a specialist in anything that we do. We are a specialist organisation when it comes to gas, electrical, plumbing, air conditioning. We have specialists. I'm not a specialist in any of them, but I have specialists that work for me. They often influence the decisions. So I think the key thing is listen. And you see it in politics. They've got a spin doctor that's influencing the decision that a minister's making, etc. But the key thing is nobody's a specialist in everything. So listen to the guys you've got around you. Listen to the team. And that team is the one that will help you, A, look good, and B, deliver on the business commitments you've got.
Superb bit of advice, which brings me nicely on about your how you foster a culture of leadership within the business. Obviously, we work with a number of your hiring managers and leaders across different parts of the business, and you can see people at all different levels. But you've got that senior leadership team there that's driving the business. I guess how do you create a culture where people can speak openly without fear of making a mistake? We all do it, or without putting an idea across that might not seem the best idea, but has the confidence to say, Craig, I think we should try this. How do you foster that culture of leadership?
It comes back to kind of giving people an element of control, doesn't it? It's not just a case of this is the party line, we must do it. A very good leader of mine back in the day said, look, think of it as tram lines. You've got a tram line to the left, you've got a tram line to the right. Between those 2 tram lines, just get on with the job. Things will go wrong, and when they do, we call them heroic failures. These heroic failures become the future successes because you don't do it twice. Measure yourself within those tram lines. If you get outside of them, come and ask for help. But deliver the role that you've got within those tram lines, and just see every failure as a heroic failure. It was in the best of intentions, just didn't work out. And I think if you instill that as a culture to people, align it to people, and there's never a silly question. Don't get me wrong, there is always a silly question, but don't be afraid to ask it. And don't be
Yeah.
afraid that there may become a little bit of japing, a little bit of digging in the ribs, a little bit of ridicule. But if you have that culture where people aren't afraid to ask, they aren't afraid to try something and pick themselves up, then actually it's quite an enjoyable place to work and what people learn and grow and develop.
Yeah. I love that. Heroic failures. I will definitely be pinching that, Greg. I've had a few heroic failures in my career, no doubt about that. Back to CMS, and again, a bit of a plug. This is about CMS, about your good selves. What sets you apart in the market of sort of reactive and planned maintenance services, installation, repair, maintenance, to competitors? Why are you the go-to? Why do you feel you are the go-to?
I mean, we always say, we're specialists in what we do. And I think everybody will say that they're a specialist in what they do. I think the differentiator when it comes to that is we're specialists in so many sort of areas or sectors, if you like, of hard FM services that we look after. We're a nationwide, you mentioned at the start, part of the battle we have when you're looking for candidates is they don't always know who we are. An engineer, a plumber, an AC guy down, middle of London, out in the wilds of Cornwall that we're looking to resource those areas with won't have necessarily heard of CMS based in Gateshead. The small company with a website that we don't promote ourselves, and we're on the national scene through some of our major clients. But our biggest advert is our vans. If you see one of our vans
Yeah.
floating around, you know who we are. Chances are, if we're looking to build in an area, we won't have a van in the area. That's why we're looking to build and resource in the area. You won't see one pop, every night at the end of the street opposite the co-op kind of thing. So I think our nationwide nature sets us apart. Certainly within a lot of the clients and the FM providers we work with, we are the only true national for any service, let alone the number of services we offer nationally. But I think it comes back to the values, as I said before. We're open, we're honest, our integrity. If we tell you we'll do something, we'll do something. If we tell you we can't do something, and we'll be honest and tell you that we can't do it, or we'll be honest and tell you that actually that's not going to work for this reason, and we'll give you a solution to it. I think that's what, with a lot of our clients, sets us apart. You will come and fix it. It might not be how we think you're going to fix it, but you'll fix it and we'll have a resolution to the problem and we'll have it going forwards. And that comes back to having great engineers on the ground. That comes back to having great support with the managers in the office. And then the sort of the technical support, the more technical guys, our compliance team, our estimating team, our purchasing team, to understand what we can buy, what price we can get it at, how quickly we can get it installed, how quickly we can resolve it, and actually is it the right thing to do for the client, I think is what sets us apart.
Brilliant. Great plug. Certainly. You can tell you used to work in sales, Greg, eh?
Well, it was there for a while.
It was. I wouldn't be doing my job if we didn't touch on our partnership. Obviously, CMS and Superior have partnered now for a period of time, and we're starting to get some great traction with candidates through the door on a regular basis. I've, from my personal point of view, and I do wish to hear yours around the recruitment market, and do try not to swear on this one, Greg, because we know it's a challenging market right now. How are you finding the general recruitment market?
Very, very challenging, I think is the honest answer. I think, let's be honest, there's a shortage of trades. That goes back to that apprenticeship conversation earlier.
Yeah.
One of the reasons we want to bring that apprenticeship scheme in is there is a shortage of trades in the industry. Everybody's fighting for the best engineers.
Yeah.
We know that, and that only has one effect, that just pushes salaries up. Pushing salaries up is fine, but then you go back to clients and expect them to pay more money to cover the cost of salaries, etc. It doesn't happen. So there's a massive squeeze. We have to look at benefits outside of the financial benefits to say this is why we want to be the employer of choice. We need to come and work for us because, and it isn't always going to be the financial remuneration. It will be the other things around that. It will be the entire package. But it's a very, very tight market. And in certain areas, it's hard to get people. Some areas are easier than others. So you think of the likes of, Leeds or Manchester or Liverpool, major cities. Lots and lots of people live there. Lots and lots of colleges there. Quite easy, relatively, to get a good engineer of any trade. Move yourself out into, Taunton, down into Dorset. Move yourself out into Anglia and start going, right, I want a good guy. And actually, if you look on the map and you could have a map of the population, you'll understand why it's very difficult in certain areas to get those trades. goes back to
Yeah.
say that's why we want those apprentices, so that we can take some of this pain away in the future. But the partnership, you mentioned the partnership we've been together working for 15, 18 months off and on, and a more solid sort of partnership, in-house talent management, we call it now, since what, September, October time last year now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We recognise that we're specialised in what we do. We do gas, we do AC, we do electrical. We're not recruiters. And as we're growing, we're trying to manage recruitment through external recruitment organisations. And they're great people out there. Some great friendships have been built over the years with the recruitment companies and consultancies that we've used, but it gets too hard to manage them. We needed a
Yeah.
specialist to work that for us. And that's why we've come to you guys. You don't fix boilers, you don't fix air conditioning. I doubt you even know how to change a wheel, Gareth, if I'm honest. But
No,
what
my toolbox has a hammer and some nails in it, and my wife will vouch for that. That's how anything goes up on a wall or comes down on a wall. So no, I'm not technical.
But what you do is recruit, and you know how to
Yeah.
recruit. You know what levers to pull. You know how to get searches out there, and that's the reason for the partnership. The synergy is there. You're a specialist in what you do. We're a specialist in what we do. We need you to help us grow, because without you, we won't be able to grow. So we won't have the physical bodies,
Yeah.
the people that we need in our business.
No, it's it's been a really good adventure, this partnership, and I do go back to you're staying in the tram lines. You're right. You guys have your strengths, we have our strengths, and between us, we can get the right people. If we can find the right people, and you can develop the right people, then ultimately that's the end goal for everybody. Um, in terms of again, give you an opportunity to plug the disciplines you're recruiting. Typically on your average week, tell us the types of people you need right now, because we're going to put this out to the world, and you just never know what bites we may get, Greg.
Well, I'll say right now, it never stops. The growth within CMS is 20% year on year. So we're looking at 20% turnover increases year on year, and that's been the case pretty much since I joined. I've just put the budgets together, or we've just put the budgets together for this year. It's still 20% growth, and yet we're calling this a year of consolidation. It's still
Wow.
20%. It's still 20% revenue growth, but we want to consolidate and maximise on the EBITDA elements of the business as well. But the growth will still be there, because we know it won't stop. So trades we're looking for, always nationally, good gas engineers. We want gas engineers, we want combustion engineers, we want guys that understand forced draft burners, as well as your smaller 70, 100, 120 kilowatt wall hung or floor standing boilers. We come across a multitude of different boilers. Good air conditioning guys. The area that's got to grow is our renewables. So air conditioning installers, air conditioning service guys, anybody who's got renewables experience, bringing those into the teams, people that have worked in the renewables divisions previously. Outside of that, there is a standing need constantly for plumbing. We always bring plumbers. We tend to try and get plumbing apprentices and then take them through year 2, year 3. Then they become a plumber with us, and then we'll put them through their gas qualification. And again, that brings that constant kind of apprentice bit in towards the end of their period to become a plumber, put them through some qualifications and move them on to gas. And the key thing for me, if anybody's listening, if you've got a son or daughter, and let's be honest, I don't see many ladies in the game. If you've got a son or a daughter that's interested in any of those trades, or is it the type of person that likes working with their hands, they're not necessarily an academic, as in school and going off to do A levels and go off and doing university or whatever. The people that actually like to work with their hands, get them on our apprenticeship scheme. We'll take them on as apprentices, get them applying to us, filter them through the system. Let's get some apprentices in the business. That's the future of CMS for me.
Fantastic. Oh, brilliant. One final question I've got for you, Greg, is I need a question for my next panelist, which is tomorrow. So give me a question as testing as the one that Susan give you.
Well, it's a challenge. I was trying to think of that as we were talking, to be fair. And I like
Yeah,
the idea.
it's not an easy one to think about, is it?
No, it's not. I like the idea of kind of going back and looking at an area of my career and what I've done different. I think the key thing for me, I've got 2 kids, as you know. One's at university, one's just doing A levels. The best bit of advice I ever heard and was given was related to my eldest, which was let them do what they enjoy doing at school, because they'll do well. If they do well, they'll get good grades. They'll get good grades, they can move on. That's advice that I wish I'd known And I think the question would be for whoever your next guest is, what advice would you give to your 16-year-old self as to where you take your career path?
Hell of a question, Greg. Hell of a question. I like that one. Yeah. I'd love to say that this was our idea, but it's actually someone slightly more famous than me, a podcaster, Stephen Bartlett, who puts that question in, which I think is a really good way to end things. No, honestly, Greg, I've thoroughly enjoyed today. Really appreciate you giving up your time, as I know you're a very busy guy. Congratulations on CMS's success, and long may it continue as our partnership will to support you with recruitment. And we'll get this out to our audience, and let's have a great rest. Can't get the words out. Rest of a great week, Greg. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you, Gareth. I'm glad I managed to get through without any expletives. There was no bleeping required, so I think we did pretty well.
I think we did. Yes, I think we did. Well, have a wonderful day, Greg. We'll speak soon, buddy.
And you, mate. See you soon.
Yeah, mate. Bye now.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. We hope you enjoyed listening to our story. Remember, our community is what makes this podcast thrive, so don't hesitate to reach out, whether it's sharing your thoughts on today's topic, suggesting future topics, or just saying hello. We'd love to hear from you. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, leave us a review. It goes a long way in helping us grow. Thanks again for being part of our community. We'll catch you on the next episode.